Hey, 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 here they come. Here they come. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for coming and hanging out with this. This should be a lot of fun. Pretty informal chat. So I've asked some of the speakers for the Badass Business Summit to come hang out with us, talk about some of the things that they're seeing happening in business right now, some of the changes they think is going to happen over the next few months as the craziness of the world continues. Going to talk about Babs, of course, what they're speaking about, why they're speaking about that, and some fun questions around this. So I really got no massive agenda other than throwing a few questions at you and see what explodes. So let's go around the horn. Ladies first, introduce yourself. Melissa, we'll start off with you if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Cohen. I am based in New York City. I'm a personal branding and LinkedIn strategist, and this will be my third time attending Babs, and I'm super excited.
Oh, so stoked to have you back again, babe. So stoked. Catherine.
Well, Melissa, I know you on LinkedIn, so I'm just so glad to get to meet you in person. I'm Catherine Brown, and I'm a fellow Texan. I'll be coming from Houston, and I'm a referral expert. I run a community called the Good Humans Growth Network that does all kinds of referral training, and so I'll be talking specifically about what we're calling your Fantastic Five and how to get organized about who your referral partners could be and build really deep relationships with them.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. And Joe.
Fantastic. Catherine, Melissa, nice to meet you. Donnie, great to see you. Thanks for having me. I am Joe Frost online. Everybody knows me as Omaha Joe because I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm the founder of Your CMO. We're a fractional chief marketing officer business. Many of my CMOs have been part of the Success Champions Network, and we're excited to be speaking about marketing, and more specifically, the 6 fundamentals of marketing in the age of AI and how it really impacts each of us as we build our practices. So it's a very practical topic, but based on the strategic fundamentals of marketing.
Yeah, one of the fantastic things about Joe is he's a fractional CMO himself, but his company has over 20 fractional CMOs that are underneath the brand that they go and work with other companies. So yeah, a lot of good guys in our network. So, all right. So first question, just to kind of set the tone, if y'all are ready for this. What's something people would not expect about you if they've only seen your professional profile on like LinkedIn? Oh, let's peel back the curtains a little bit. What would be something that people would be surprised by or not expect about you that if they only seen your professional profile?
I can go first, Donnie.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Well, I have a very bright picture is sort of, common for the persona, very optimistic, cheerful persona. That's all true. It's really me. My favorite television and movies are actually about dystopian. What do people do in the craziest of times kind of shows. And I have like a super nerd, zombies meets science fiction, kind of line of interest. But I'll tell you the common theme, Donnie. It's that my favorite thing about those shows is that they're always about what does it really mean to be a human, right? What does it really mean to be a person? And what does a person do, under duress and in certain situations? And so I think that's why I love them. But I don't think people would associate me with things like The Walking Dead. Like, I don't think
I wouldn't have picked that in a million years. And because I won't watch those shows. The gore, the creepiness, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah. No, I love them because they're about like the real essence of who's in a person and what will they become under certain situations. And so it's my favorite.
Oh, I've heard actors say that those are some of their funnest roles to play because they can get so out of their normal realm of what they typically act in. So, yeah, I would not have expected that at all. I have you almost in my head as like this nice, sweet church going Sunday school.
And I do love the BBC also. I just also love The Walking Dead. Right?
Nice. Melissa, what about you?
All right, so I think I'm going to surprise even you with this, unless I've told you this before, which I don't think I have. But first of all, I'm with you. No gore, not a lot of violence. I need to sleep at night. I have enough trouble with that as it is. But I do love what you said, Catherine. I think especially now, what it means to be human is so important. But so I mentioned that I live in New York City. I was born in New York City. I will not do it here, so don't ask, but I have a talent that is much appreciated in my family of doing barnyard animal impressions. Yes, I do.
That's a skill.
So come see me at Babs and ask me to do.
Oh yeah, you're in trouble now. I'm gonna put a mic in your hands. And
I know.
Wow. Now I need to get you to come to the farm, because with a turkey, if you make a turkey sound, they will make it right back to you.
I sure do. And I do. Turkey's a special specialty. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you already said you wouldn't do it now. I would so let you do it, because I want that on video. And then I'm going to make it your ringtone on my phone of you doing a turkey call. That'd be hilarious. Too funny. Joe, what about you?
I'll make it.
Oh, I don't know. I can't top animal noises and Walking Dead enthusiasm. But I will say, it's buried in my profile, so you might know it. But I actually have an undergraduate degree in chemical engineering, which is about as far away from marketing as you can get as a professional. But it was something that in high school, my counselor said, "Hey, you're good in chemistry, you're good in math, you should be an engineer." And I looked up what the going rate for graduating engineering was making when they graduated college, and I said, "All right, I'll be a chemical engineer." And it lasted 1 year, and then I got into the real world and started doing my entrepreneurial stint. But that is my undergraduate degree.
Nice. I was trying to think about, for me, because I share so much on freaking LinkedIn, and the only thing I could come up with is I've drawn like pictures since I was a kid. So I almost didn't officially letter, but I almost lettered in high school. They were out of students they could give awards to for letters, but my art teacher gave me the letter to go on a Leatherman jacket, whatever your high school jacket's called, whatever it's called. I didn't do the school thing well, but yeah, I have a letter, did not officially letter in art in high school for drawing. So the only thing I can think of, but I share everything. I don't care. So, what's one of the most ridiculous or rememberable things about any business event you've ever attended? Like, what's something crazy, harebrained, out of the box, or something just flat out amazing that you still remember? And I'll give you guys some time. I'll tell you mine. I was fairly new out of the Marine Corps, and I was really in that space. I was working with my best friend and his dad doing HVAC, Texas attics, 110 degrees, horrible, dirty work. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I got invited to go to this event out in Dallas. I drove the hour to get out there, and I go to this event, and it was this, I don't know, conference, and people were talking, and I'd never been to anything like that before in my life. And, you know, through it all, it was a lot of stuff I didn't understand, because I hadn't been in the business world at that point and everything. And I was getting ready to leave, and a gal grabs me and she goes, "Hey, you really need to stay for this last speaker." I'm like, "Okay, why do I need to stay for this last speaker?" He goes, "Because this whole event is really about him and what he's done for a lot of our lives." I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll stick around." And I'll never forget, right before he comes on, lights, the whole place goes out black, like solid black. There's no running lights, there's no anything. You can hardly see anybody next to you. And then a spotlight hits the stage. That dude walks out, and as soon as he hits a spotlight, that fucking place exploded. Like, people were going bananas for this guy. I this day can't tell you who that was. I can't tell you what he freaking talked about. Like, clueless. I don't even know where I was at the event. All I know is at that moment, I'm like, fuck, I want to be in that spotlight. Right. And so, but that was just mind blowing that somebody could have so much impact on people's lives that they would just go bananas as soon as you walked. It was so cool. It was so cool.
That's cool.
So what about you guys? Pull Melissa on stage about Yes, I will, Kevin. 100%. That is happening.
It's going to cost you, Donnie.
I'm sure it will. Anybody got one they want to start? Go ahead, Joe.
One that's recent. It's just I mean, it's the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know why, but there was a conference that I was in Dublin a few months ago, and it was an entrepreneurs conference, and they had two brothers that had won the national Ireland dance contest. So they were doing Irish dancing. They won nationally, and then they started touring internationally. And then COVID hit, and everything stopped because no one was having events. So they had to reinvent themselves. So they started doing like YouTube dance videos, the two of them, to popular music. And so they became this internet phenomenon around
I know
that.
who
And
you're
now they
talking
go,
about. I watched them on
you know,
Instagram. Yeah.
so they came and they reinvented their career online, and then they start touring now about telling that story. But what was memorable to me was we're in Ireland, and these two brothers are talking, but they're tap dancing in between, like to make the point. And the point was, you have to have an on beat and an off beat. And the on beat is, what you do all the time, and the off beat is kind of what you come in on. So as they were tapping, one guy is doing the on beat, the other guy is doing the off beat, and together it was like, really, really interesting. But that's how you have to innovate your business. So their on beat was the tap dancing, their off beat was having to do it on YouTube. So as a business, as we think about like, what is it we do every day that we got to keep doing? What's the offbeat that we got to look for that we have to innovate and pivot? So I thought that was really interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
That is cool.
So
I went to an event around the creator economy, and something fun about me is I love game shows. I adore game shows. My grandfather was on the original Jeopardy many years ago.
Cool.
My mom was a contestant on something called Sale of the Century, which I don't think they ever brought back, but was a game show back in the day. I truly believe I have missed my calling by not making the cut when I auditioned for Wheel of Fortune, because quite frankly, I was born to play Wheel of Fortune, but that's okay. I'm going to try again. But they had a game show sort of set up, like a Jeopardy match, asking all of these questions about, different things in the creator economy, different things about social media, different platforms. And it was just really fun, right? We weren't shouting out the answers as the audience. There were 3 contestants, but it was just really cool to see, like, how much do you know? What do you know? Are you smarter than the contestants in some categories? Are they, more knowledgeable than you? It's just really fun. I thought it was something different.
Oh, that is fun. That is
Yeah.
fun.
That's really fun.
That's fun.
Well, Donnie, mine is one I didn't like, but it's a fairly recent example. So I think could be instructional as well. I went to a very large conference, as I mentioned earlier. If you are just now jumping in and listening, I live in Houston. And so it was, I won't name who they were, but it was a very large national conference that tours around different cities. I wanted to basically just see how people do really large scale events, because probably the largest event I had personally attended as an entrepreneur was maybe 2,500 people. And, they get much bigger than that. So I wanted to go to, this was our largest conference hotel in all of Houston. And there were several thousand people, more than 2,500. And everything from trying to find which floor it was on, because the hotel was so big, to getting your lanyard and figuring out what to do and where to go, just reiterated to me that I don't really care how much success I have. I don't ever want to have an event like that.
Yeah.
Because people were organized. One of the main objectives was to get people in the right color section based on how much they paid for their seat. Oh. And the experience was just, I know that there's an argument for having VIP, and there's different strategies around all of that. And I agree that you can have different price tickets. And at the same time, I don't think everything has to be about how a person feels treated based on what they got. Because what's so interesting was I'd been invited to be a speaker's guest, and I was in a middle tier. I mean, I wasn't even in the bottom tier, and I still felt like, am I going to meet a single human? The ballroom was so dark because everything was about the show of the event. And I just thought, obviously they filled this room with lots of people who enjoy this well enough to give up their day and come. And I stayed about 60% of the day, and I thought, I think I've gotten what I wanted to learn from this.
Yeah.
And it was not my speed. And I really went in open, and there were several things they did that I will copy, because I was like, there's some things that were great, but there's some things that were not great. If your goal was to meet other entrepreneurs, which was my goal.
Yeah. I was told by a mentor once upon a time that they said, sometimes, you can learn something from everybody. And sometimes the lesson is what not to do.
That's right.
So I don't enjoy those experiences, but I wish people would stop forgetting where they came from. Like, go back to your roots of like how you grew up, how you built your business, whatever it is. But at some point it's like they feel like they've made it and now they're somebody, and when not realizing that we're already somebody on the journey. right? And so it blows me away that that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Because that moment, that's all about making money. It's not about the audience getting value, growing anything. So
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair to say that the primary value for anyone there would have been only if you purchased the high ticket offer from the main speaker. And I think there's more you can give along the way. So it just
Yeah.
wasn't my speed.
Yeah. Crazy. What's one business lesson you learned the hard way? The last question, then we're going to go start talking about what you guys are talking about at the summit stuff. One business lesson you learned the hard way.
I would say ask for help. It's been really hard for me as an entrepreneur throughout my years to realize that there are so many other people out there that know much more than I know, that have done it before, and they're willing to help if you just ask. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've launched 2 or 3 different businesses. I've had good amounts of success and failures along the way, but only about 3 years ago did I realize that I'm just not asking for help enough. So now I have a mentor, a coach that I work with every week. He's one of my best friends, but it's just, he pours so much into me, and I get so much out of that. And he wouldn't have been there if I just didn't ask one day that I just need a little bit more accountability in my life. Would you be interested in being this for me? He's like, absolutely, I would love to do that. And so I don't know. I just told my younger daughter, my middle daughter, that a couple of days ago, like, Julie, I hope you don't go through as long as I did without asking for help in your professional career, because it took me a long time to open up and say, I could use some help, thinking I could do it all on my own.
Dude, I can't agree with you more. That's my Jerry Mack, man. Dude, that guy, he beats the shit out of me on a regular basis, and I love every bit of it. Oh, the company wouldn't be where it is without Jerry's help. Like that dude. So yeah. And it's not easy asking for help anytime. I don't care who you are. Like, I think everybody has some form of struggle with it, or they're the complete opposite catastrophe that's just asking for help because they're not doing anything. So nice. What about you, ladies? Something you learned the hard way, business lesson.
I'd say for me, and I was just talking about this with someone in the comments on LinkedIn. Surprise. Don't trade money for time. I think, when a lot of us first start out, that's the only way we know, right? You want to work together. It costs this much for this much time. And it's a model that will not get you very far, and you have to pivot. And it was really hard for me to do that, because that's how I was used to thinking of what I did, right? You want this much time, it's this many dollars, but that's not sustainable. And it's also really not scalable. And it was actually, to your point, Jerry really helped me shift my thinking around that.
Dude's a freaking wizard.
Yeah.
So I want to buy him a wizard outfit for the summit, just so he comes out, staff hat, all that. Catherine, what about you, love?
Yeah, Donnie, I think mine would be to invest. It kind of goes to coaching too, but it's to invest in understanding your own strengths and weaknesses. And what I mean by that is, I feel like 2 times that come up in my head that were like major costly mistakes. Either, in a former business, I got upside down where I couldn't pay back a line of credit fast enough, and I had to take out a different loan and I had to pay it back, and I was very embarrassed. Like, the reason that happened is because I, for real, believed, because I was a good seller, I thought, I'm going to be able to fix this, and I'm going to get my way out of this. And I waited too long to ask for help about everything from, the negotiating the terms to any other alternatives of how to solve this problem, because I just thought, I'll sell my way out of this. And the other issue that comes to mind, which we don't have time for, but it's the same thing where I kind of went too long thinking, I think I can fix this, and I don't do that anymore, because I've learned what those triggers are for me. And I've learned what for me, that is a strength, when it becomes a weakness. Like, at one point you're kind of looking at the other side of the coin. It's like, this is where I need to pull in help, on the theme of help. And so I think everything that increases your emotional intelligence, that helps you learn about yourself, that helps you learn how you react in certain situations so that you can create tools and resources and a team around that, is really important. And I wish I had learned to recognize some of those patterns faster.
Yeah, I'm 100% in on all that, right? I've gone down some similar paths myself. I think we often think that the way we're running our companies, we're the only one fucking anything up. Like we're the only one screwing it all up, right? And so we don't want anybody to know that we're screwing things up. So we try and He-Man, She-Ra up and, go at it, not realizing that there's somebody sitting, one Zoom call away that be like, hey, just do this and this and this, and you're gone, right? Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, or even like again, I think there's a lot. I have a friend that teaches about this idea of she talks about the two, she'll use the analogy of a coin, or she'll talk about a person's shadow side, that the thing that is a strength has a weakness to it too. And I think because I actually perform really well under pressure, I rise to the occasion over and over and over again. I think I don't think of asking people early enough because I just perform well in those situations. So I can think of 2 major colossal times I didn't, but there's dozens of times I did. So the data tell you, I'm okay, you're okay, you can do this. But what you want to notice is the pattern where also just because you can doesn't mean you should.
For sure. No. All right, let's get into what you guys are talking about a little bit at the summit. So, and whoever wants to take this can take it. What are you seeing business owners struggle with right now that made you want to teach what you're teaching on stage? Mm-hmm. So what are you seeing what business owners are struggling with right now that made you want to teach your topic?
I can speak to that 2 ways. First is where my CMOs struggle the most right now. And it's the same, I think, across all fractionals in the fractional space and probably many professional services. It's consistent conversations with prospects. It is such a hard thing to do for 2 reasons. One, just learning the craft of going out and doing what, Donnie, you teach and just becoming really good at that and getting the conversation started. But then when you do get work, then it's how do you keep that going while you're focused on serving clients? And so that's the biggest challenge. So one of the ways, not the only way, but one of the ways is being very strategic about how you approach that. And so the 6 fundamentals kind of teach that, but also it's understanding who that target audience really is that you want to be talking to. And then how do you position yourself in a way that can go there and make, stand out, and then having sales and marketing alignment around it. So those are 3 of the 6 fundamentals.
That's huge because most of these people, they're absolute tacticians at what they do. They're genius level at what they can do, but getting into those consistent conversations is 90% of the problem.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. Ladies?
Do you want to go next, Melissa?
Sure. If anybody needs proof that these conversations are not rehearsed or practiced, I'm not even 100% solidified on exactly what I'm speaking about. So this could go lots of ways, right? But I think, the elephant in the room for everyone, for every industry and every business owner is AI, right? And how they're implementing it, how they're using it, and how it can be a risk in some ways, right, to authenticity. And so, the work that I do around LinkedIn and personal branding and the fact that, people are going to work with you because they like you, right? It's people always want to work with people. And it just goes back to that know, like, and trust factor, right? How much you rely on automation or AI and in what ways can really impact that. And so really, for me, a big thing is helping business leaders, helping anyone stand out when AI, when not used correctly, can really sort of commoditize us, right? It sort of brings us all into that sea of sameness, right? We see it. We're all complaining on LinkedIn how there's so much AI slop out there, right? And so I'm not saying don't use AI. Everybody's using AI in some capacity, right? I love to use it for images. I like to make images with it. I think it can really let me have a lot of fun. But how do you do it in a way that's authentic and that still lets people see who you are, right? Standing out from everybody else.
That's huge. Yeah, there needs to be a little bit more anti-AI voice out there. Not to say don't use AI, but there is, like, I put a post out yesterday, day before, like I got like 5 connection requests, and I only put a picture of 3 of them at the same exact time. Like they popped up at the same moment. They all said almost the same exact thing. Like you knew that's one AI or automation company, they're selling this whole idea of we're going to do it. And I was like, so I screenshot and put it out there on LinkedIn. And the funny
I'm glad you
comments
blacked out my name on one of those.
I did. And what's funny is Joe had 2 profiles. Like he came through twice. I don't know what that's about. So yeah, it's crazy. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Catherine?
Yeah, so I'll be talking about different kinds of referral relationships, and just born out of my own personal pain. Donnie, I've been an entrepreneur since 2002. I've started several companies. Some made them, some didn't. I learned all the painful lessons, and I've spent a lot of money just trying to always be in the right room that helped me get where I was trying to go next. And in general, what I think people do is they're too passive about their referral partner plans. They say, let's meet next quarter, let's talk, but they actually get off a call without assignments. And I know assignment is like not a very sexy word, but I really think it's important to test people earlier. So that would be whoever's listening. I would say, like, you mutually agree to a test. You say, I'm really serious. I'm looking for 3 people that will do X with me. And let's do that. You do this for me, I'll do this for you. And then we'll meet back and talk about how it went. And you want to see if that person will do what they said they'll do. And if they're not going to, you want to find out faster. Because I just lived in hope so many times that someone's like, I'm getting to it. And I get in a situation where I'm overgiving and I'm not properly aligned with someone. And so I love the idea of homework. I love the idea of being very explicit. And so even getting as specific as saying, in my overall portfolio of leads, I want 50% to come from referrals in the next 12 months. These are the people I'm going to do that with, and going to them and saying, do you know that you're on that list? How can we make this happen? If they don't know, how in the world are they going to help make it happen? Right? It needs to be through collaboration. So I just think people are too passive, and they think that it will just happen. And I'm not arguing that sometimes someone does remember you from keywords and phrases, or follows you on LinkedIn and just directly DMs you. All that does happen. It is not normative to build the kind of pipeline that people want consistently with referrals. And I think we have to be a little bit more proactive.
Yeah, I love that. Except when you said the word assignment, my skin crawled. Like I look up like high school or something. I'm like,
we can reframe it: favor, task, to do. Yeah.
I like the phrase passive, but I call it drive-by networking. Like they're just showing up. They're going to the event. They're going to the meeting. They're going whatever, but nothing's coming out of it. They're not doing anything with it. So that's awesome. That'll be a lot of fun.
Can I tell one more quick story about that, Donnie?
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
No.
So I have a guy that reached out to me this morning that I met when I was overseas last month, and I'm doing a bunch of stuff in England, and so he and I met, and there's some neat opportunities for us to do some things together. Well, he saw that another person who was at the same event, that we're having a webinar coming up, and he said, I saw you're doing this event with so and so, and he said, I want to do a webinar with you. And I thought, that's so great, because think about this, and think, Joe, what you were talking about with the skill for a solopreneur or a small business owner, right? Like to just have the balls, right? To just pick up, he just called me on WhatsApp. So I saw this and I want this too. Would you be game for that? Like most people want things like that, but they don't ask. Yeah. And we don't have to say yes to everyone who asks, but you certainly don't want to leave it to the other person to think of it. How in the world would I know that he would want to do that? I haven't seen him do a webinar. Right. So then we got to spend the rest of the call saying, okay, well, what would that look like together? And I said, it would really help me if you would go watch this other one I'm going to do, because then we'd have a framework. You could say, I like the back and forth. I like the style. This is what I'm imagining would be different. Right. We'd have a frame of reference. And so actually I gave him an assignment. Right. I was like, if you watch this and you come back and tell me what you like, then I'm game. And so that level of proactiveness, like I'm noticing that. I'm like, oh, this person wants to do stuff together. Interesting. Note. That is way better. You'd rather say no to those than go to rooms where things never go anywhere. And so there's just a level of proactivity that we have to take that comes back to sales acumen, branding confidence, all the things we're talking about here, they all go together.
And they're all the things that we were never taught in school, coming up, anything. This is all stuff that most people are learning through the school of hard knocks.
That's right.
So, oh, freaking amazing. Why should people come to the summit? Throwing it right in your laps.
I'll start on that one. I mean, Donnie, I've just been impressed. This will be my first summit, actually, but I followed it for years, and ever since you started it. And I think you've done lots of things to make it easy. So it's easy to get in and out of the place. There are just real growth-minded people who are just so excited to be there. You see that by their enthusiasm, by how many tickets they've already sold, and by repeat people. And so it just seems like a lovely group of people who want to help each other, who are business owners. And you've done a lot to make the price, the location, and the logistics easy, and all of that matters.
Oh, thank you for that, Catherine. Joe, Melissa.
So in my intro, I mentioned that this will be my third time attending. So full transparency, both of the times that I've attended, I bought my ticket for the next year before I left, right? Part of that is because you're smart, Donnie, and you make it less expensive. But part of that is because I just knew I wanted to come back, right? So the caliber of people that you will meet there, both as speakers and presenters, but also as attendees, is really, really high. You do meet people who want to grow their businesses, but they also want to help one another grow as well. And that really is that whole like success champions mindset, right? And whenever somebody asks me about Babs, I always tell them unequivocally, you should go.
Easy for you to say.
There's certain words, you know this about me, there's certain words I stumble over no matter how many times I say them. You should absolutely go. And I also tell everyone you should absolutely go VIP, because Jerry is just worth the price of admission. And he is a phenomenal business coach, phenomenal human. And I learned so much from him. Like I said, I was buying my ticket for the next year before I even left.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And I tell you, you can't get wrong with Jerry. Just the way the guy thinks about business is amazing. But you said it. He's just a good dude, like genuine, freaking lovely soul. So amazing guy. All right, Joe.
I think there's, only a finite amount of time that we have in this world. And when I think about investments like this, 3 days of my time, am I going to have a return on that investment in so many different ways? Like, what am I giving up? What am I committing to? What am I going to take away from it? And where I see this as being a very valuable use of that time, it's the people in the room. It's not the three of us that are speaking as much as the audience, because your return on investment is the room, and it's the other people that are like-minded, that are in there searching for the same things and making that same investment of their time and energy away from family and other priorities. I think you get all of us people in the room that are doing the same thing in a properly curated, experience, not a dark room with seated by where, how much you paid, but in a real collaborative investment. Then it's a very, very simple equation that the return on your time and your energy is infinite with the right people in that room.
Yeah, I love when people walk up to me and they're like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to come. I wasn't sure I wanted to be there, but I finally talked myself in. And, they're like, by the day three, they're like, I can't even believe I thought about not coming, just because the impact on them. I've had a couple of other guests on some other lives we've done, and listen to them talk about the success stories of the clients they've landed, the relationships they still have, the people they've met from it. It's really, really, really a lot of fun. But I think I'm going to color code the seats by how much you paid this year.
I can teach you all about it. I'm an expert.
Good. You can help me lay it all out.
Be sure on the lanyards not to have people's name.
What?
Why? They absolutely want to the network. So, man,
it's crazy.
Let's just get cattle panels like they do for Times Square, and just like panel them in so they can't interact with each other and can't leave.
It was bad. I just cannot believe how many people put up with that bad behavior. I mean, it's bad.
And they probably walked away saying this was the greatest event of their life.
I'm like, you need to go to different events.
What I find in events like that is the people that run it are just good salespeople, just not good humans most times, because of how they use their sales skill and influence to manipulate an audience into buying their shit. So That's the unfortunate side of things. What will people miss if they don't attend a summit? So if they don't come, what would they miss?
I think they're going to miss. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, you can go ahead, Melissa.
I think they're going to miss an opportunity to meet amazing people. I have walked away both years having met some people for the very first time, that I had no idea who they were until I met them. I met people who I had only known online, right? I knew them from LinkedIn, but getting to meet them face to face for the first time. I mean, Donnie, I don't know if you know this, but a whole group of us from last year that were, with Jerry in the VIP group, we meet every Monday morning.
Really? I had no idea.
We have a Zoom call. It's almost a year later, right? We're in July. We meet every Monday morning because we wanted to keep that momentum going and we wanted to keep that camaraderie going. And, not every one of us can make it every week, but every week someone shows up and some of us are there and we just share knowledge, we share insights, we update one another on our business, we give each other advice. So you're really missing out on the room, right? Like Joe said, you're really missing out on a room full of amazing people.
That's awesome. That's cool. I didn't know you guys were doing that. Nice. Very cool. I love hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Joe?
I was going to say, I think you miss out on the opportunity to work on your business instead of in your business for a very structured 3 days. And we, as business owners, that's hard to find. When you can do it with other people, it's even better because then it's synergistic, it's exponential, like it's energy that's created by collaborating with others that you won't have by yourself. You can go and spend a weekend at a cabin and write a book or work on your business plan, but when you get in a room full of people all working on their business together instead of in it, I think that's what you miss out on when you don't go to events like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Catherine?
Yeah. Joe kind of took mine. I agree. I think the white space, and the chance away from the office and the routine is great. And then I think, Donnie, I would add that if you are bought in that, you don't need to have 100 people at a second tier level who are supposed to be keeping you in mind, but you actually want to develop a plan that will create recurring referrals, then you've got to invest in those relationships.
Yeah.
So you need to be like, join a chapter, meet people, find out who's going, do Zoom calls ahead of time, and then show up. So it's the second, third, fourth conversation you've had with the person and not the first conversation. That's how you build friendships in business. Yeah. And so you've kind of put all the components together for people to make the most of that, and they should take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, is most events that I've ever gone to seem to be like the talking head, events. The speaker gets on stage, they want to preach at you and try and teach you whatever knowledge or system they have, but they never let you actually try and put it in play when you're sitting there. Like, if I'm going to learn and consume something, I don't want to go home and then try and remember what my damn triangle on my sheet meant, right? I want to be taught, and then I want to be able to implement in the moment so that by the time I leave, it's already running in my business, right? That's my favorite thing about all this. So
I think I'd add, Donnie, real quick.
Go, please.
I think what Melissa said, the organic accountability group or the collaboration group that came out of the meeting, and what Catherine talked about being intentional, about recurring referrals and giving assignments. I feel like every attendee should intentionally invite one of their potential or existing referral partners to come to the conference with them so that you can use that on time together. And then the takeaways together, what you learn, you can implement together as a group. So I just think there's so much opportunity if you go into it very intentional about that.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, the deeper you can get the relationships with the people that are your actual referral partners, the bigger the business goes for both people. I mean, I always think about it from this perspective of, if you're selling into mid-market companies, larger companies, we're used that conversation is going to take 3 to 5 conversations to go from, hey, I may be interested in your services to clients. And then when people get to events like this, they go to network and anything else, they have one conversation. And I think that's going to lead them to business of some sort. I'm like, how does that not correlate that you're going to have to get deep with people? You're going to have to build real relationships. You're going to have to give to them, and I think, in this room, it gives people that environment to really, really dive into each other's world. Because, it's still a safe environment. So the conversations get a little bit more intimate, and as Joe said, you're working on your business. So, which is really, really awesome. So as we wrap this up, tell people just the idea of what's the biggest takeaways they will get from your speech, right? Then tell them specifically, how can they find you? How can they follow you? And then we'll get out of here that way. So who wants to start us off?
I can start.
Go ahead.
You're going to have a sense of whether you already know the people that you could be doing more with, so you know who to go talk to, or where your gaps are in that referral partner strategy. That's something I can say you'll have. And I'm real active on LinkedIn. There's a lot of Catherine Browns, even with a C. So I'm Catherine Lee Brown on LinkedIn. And you can find me if you just search Catherine B2B referrals. That'll come up too, because there's a lot of Catherine Browns.
Nice. Melissa?
Well, my goal is always to make people love LinkedIn as much as I do, which is a high bar because I love LinkedIn. But hopefully you will, in some capacity, have a new appreciation for the platform. I tell people with absolute sincerity, no irony whatsoever, that LinkedIn changed my life, because it did. And hopefully I can help it to change yours and your business. The best way, shockingly, to connect with me is on LinkedIn. And same, there's a fair number of Melissa Cohens. In fact, I got a very interesting DM yesterday that was meant for a different Melissa Cohen. I was like, that's not me. But I'm the good witch of LinkedIn. So if you see the good witch of LinkedIn at the end of the headline, you got the right one.
Love it. Joe?
Well, I led with our problem creating conversations and collisions with prospects is the number one thing we're trying to solve at your CMO. And we call it the X Factor. And we have an X Factor committee that meets once a week to try to figure out different ways to do outreach to get this solved. But one of the other things we're doing, I didn't mention, Melissa mentioned it earlier, is we're using AI to kind of automate the best practices we come up with and augment, but not replace the human in the puzzle. And so I'll be sharing during my presentation some of those takeaways and real skills that we've built in Claude to do this, as well as some other ideas and learnings that we've had over the last couple of months of trying to figure out how to solve this challenge for ourselves and others that are facing the same problem. So that's one of the takeaways.
Yeah,
and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'll be in Melissa's inbox, so you can find me there.
Amazing. Can't wait.
I'm lucky. I'm the only Donnie Bovine on LinkedIn, so I'm good there. Right. And trust me, this world only needs one of me, but that's plenty. That's plenty. So, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You guys, if you're watching this, thank you so much for hanging out with us as well. Tickets are on sale. Prices do go up on August 1st. So go to badassbusinesssummit.com to go get your tickets. The hotel block is getting closer to being up as well. So if you're coming in from out of town, you're going to have to get your hotel rooms very, very, very fast. But it's going to be a jam-packed 3 days, amazing speakers, phenomenal networking, and Melissa making animal sounds on stage with a microphone. So
she's committed.
Why did I share this?
Oh yeah, it's on now. You gave the country boy ammunition, so this will be fun. But the rest of this time you and I ever share a stage, Melissa, this is going to be great. So thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. Thank you for saying yes to speaker. Joe, thank you for your CMO sponsoring the summit as well. Really appreciate you guys. Y'all go make some badass, wonderful things happen like you already do. And we will catch y'all on the flip side. Love you, mean it. See you. Bye.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thanks, Donnie.